Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we've got player props here from this Game 6 in Minnesota. The Timberwolves are looking to stay alive in these playoffs against these Nuggets. Got some guys who are questionable that are pretty important. So we'll be taking a little look at that at Mike Conley and Jamal Murray. Keep an eye on them. But we do have a couple player props each in this one. So we also have best bets up in a separate video. Want to make sure you know about that. Subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we'll be bringing you both episodes moving forward throughout the playoffs. Also want you to head to thelines.com. Use the prop finder tool that's up there under the NBA tab so you can make sure that you're getting the best odds and lines available to you from all of these books giving us bets this postseason. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into your first NBA best bet player prop here for Game 6.
Aaron Gordon, man, as Ant would say in his post-game preference, like, sick of this guy. I think the shooting might regress for Gordon, but the effort and impact will not. So I'll take over 10.5 rebounds and assists or just over 6.5 rebounds. Both are offered at slightly plus odds here. I mean, originally I was getting like plus 115 adding the assists, and now people have betted enough so that it's about even money. Because, I mean, he's just been so impactful in these last three as a playmaker as well, right? Because he basically became the point guard after the Game 2 situation where they were like, let's have AG bring it up. That way Jamal doesn't get harassed, Joker doesn't get tired, and then he'll initiate. And so in these last three, he's averaging 8.5 potential assists, 5.5 actual assists. Denver, of course, knocking down everything to capitalize on those potential assists. League high 28.3 assists per game in these last three. And then their defense has been great, kind of hit a high there in Game 5 where they doubled Ant and forced the Wolves into a lot of bad shots with no Mike Conley. That factored in. So 106 defensive rating, 75% defensive rebound rate, giving him plenty of chances in that last game. And so in his last three here, he has a 74% success rate on 11.5 rebound chances. Joker down, I will say, to 17.5, because usually he's like in the 20s in different series. But I mean, he's dealing with those double big bodies, the Twin Towers, and has a 40% success rate rebounding the basketball. So, and you even saw that in the regular season against Minnesota, where AG had 7.7 rebounds on 10.7 chances in the three meetings post All-Star break. For what it's worth, I mean, he did close out the Lakers last year with 22, 6, and 5. And he did close out the Lakers this year with 7, 13, and 6. So, I mean, he does come to play in these spots. He's come to play the last three, going over this in two of them. I mean, going over the PRA total in all three of them, I believe. But I don't know how much you want to bank on the points. I think it's fine to add the points, basically. But, I mean, 14.5 is not a ton here. Just because of the attention Jokic is going to get, right, to open up that lob, which has been kind of closed off in the first couple games, but now Jokic is just killing the Wolves, and I think he has more assists. Maybe Gordon has some points off that. And then we got to address the Jamal Murray situation where if he's out, I think I actually like the rebounds and assists more than the points because the spacing might be compromised a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop waffling, but the numbers indicate 8 rebounds, 4.3 assists for AG in the 19 games without Jamal versus 6 and 3.3 when he's in there. So he's just more involved as a passer, more involved, and just more involved from an effort standpoint, grabbing those boards.
No, what we just all witnessed, myself included, was Nate getting there. We watched the process happen. Like, yeah, we get ready with notes and we do our research, but sometimes you get to talking and you're like, oh, you know what? This thought came up, maybe the points. And I was going to come in after you were done and be like, no, bro, you got it. Go back. You've overthought it. You're too far now. Come back to the original thought and just stay there. Don't keep it going because you're right. And the points, the reason that the points would scare me is a bit of a come down game. You get two big games in a row. He hits a couple threes, gets to the free throw line more than he normally does. Yeah, the lob stuff opens up when like Rudy really has to double, but it also opens up when they're a bit out of when they get out of balance on defense, and that is a huge part of Jamal Murray's presence and threat. Because the best game that when Aaron Gordon started to come alive with the points in this series, it was when Jamal Murray started playing like Jamal Murray a bit more and actually had his best game of the series when they won game 3, right? And so without his threat, Aaron Gordon in game 4 was awesome, still needed to do some sort of like out of body stuff for himself with the shooting, with the percentages and the efficiency. That's not the Aaron Gordon I want to bet on. If you remember, I took an under 10.5 RA for him in a recent game when Rudy came back, and he went cleanly under that and got the points. But now it's a little bit different once again, in my opinion. You go back to Minnesota, I don't think the shooting will be there and open for him nearly as much. And if Jamal Murray is not healthy, it actually takes away the spacing that would give Aaron Gordon the ability to do that. But with the assists, adding those, there's a reason it's become popular. It's like it was already a little bit popular from the standpoint or the perspective of, well, Aaron Gordon's going to have to pass when he's going up against Rudy Gobert, who's going to be his one-on-one defender. But they found ways out of that as well, which is Aaron Gordon is initiating the offense, which does a lot of stuff, which puts Rudy out of position right away. It puts Jamal Murray off the ball so he doesn't get hounded 94 feet by Jaden McDaniels. It was the best move of the series so far, in my opinion, from Michael Malone, was to put Aaron Gordon on the ball, or he's the screener now for Jokic or Murray. And so now he's bringing Rudy out into that, and now that's creating space for him as well. So, I've been watching a bit of tape because I was really starting to get a little confused as to what was happening here, and it's definitely worked out, and I love the way that you're playing this pick specifically. So I'm going to go to Ant-Man, and you can take all the tape I've watched, and you can throw it in the trash if you want. Not really. I still have some stuff that is strategy-based, but let's start with this. Ant-Man walks off the court in game 5 and goes, all right, I'll see you in game 7 to the ball boy. Let's start there. I like that. I don't think Ant is a guy who says stuff and doesn't back it up. That's number 1. Number 2 is you can't take 15 shots, Ant. And I know that he was doubled. And like another great move by Michael Malone, game 5, there was multiple defenders on Jamal Murray for multiple possessions. However, there were also plenty of possessions that the Wolves didn't do it right? They would have a guy come and screen for Ant at the top of the key, and then they would get the switch they wanted, whether it was Christian Brown or somebody else, whatever, they get it. But then the dude who just screen for Ant runs away into the corner, and now Ant, and then his guy stays there. So now there's 2 guys on Ant at the top of the key. He doesn't have a good pass all the way into the corner that this dude's sprinting away from him. That dude needs to find a spot, and that is 1 pass away, and get the shot up from there. NAW did a pretty good job of that last game, but Mike Conley would be huge to open up Ant. And honestly, if Mike Conley's in there, I really want to bet on him. We don't have NAW props. I like him to be a good spot up shooter in this game off of Ant Edwards, but more to the point, when Ant would make that pass, if he did have to get the ball forced out of his hands, the defense shifts. And now he's got 1 guy on him once again, but he never called for it back. The point of the pass to the wing is now the defense shifts over there. Okay, gives you more space. As soon as the defense shifts, that ball needs to go right back to Ant Edwards, but he didn't come back looking for it. That happened so many times if you watch every possession of his in this game, which I did. And you see like, I just counted like 8 opportunities in that game where it was like, dude, just go get the ball back. Now you've got an open lane. There's nobody on the other team that can guard you one-on-one. They've proven that. So I think that opens up for him in this game. He'll take more than 5 threes, I would imagine, as well. He's been really good off the pull-up. They took that away from him a lot more, so maybe the 3 isn't there. But like I said, there's ways to get him open that will be adjusted for in this game by Chris Finch and hopefully by Ant, and almost definitely by Mike Conley, who apparently is actually basically considered a part of Ant's like coaching staff, like his personal training staff. Mike Conley's on it. Like they go to him and go, Mike, what do you think we should work on with Ant for next game? And then do that. So I think that's a huge part of Ant's success is Mike Conley. But even if Conley's not able to be on the floor, I think he'll be a big part of going, this is what I saw in this last game. Last point here, Ant taking 20 shots, good thing. 32.5 points per game this season when he takes 20 shots or more, and he goes over 29.5 points 63% of the time. So there's a clear correlation here. If you obviously every shot that you bump that up from 20, if you go 21, 22 at least, now we're talking about like 80 to 85% of the time he's going over. Got to take that many shots in a closeout game. I fully expect it from Ant-Man tonight to get 29.5 over that, and a little sprinkle on 35 plus again.
Yeah, I'm with it. I mean, Mike Malone, you expect he pulled out that gambit in game 5. You expect him to change up again, right? You don't want to throw the same exact defense out there, and Ant was able to get 9 assists, and you want him to see the same look. So maybe he will get a little more single coverage as they try to like slow down Cat and other guys who are playing off that. But yeah, so and then on the other side, yeah, Conley being part of that brain trust to help him figure out how to still get going against the double teams when they know they have to have it. Like this is backs against the wall. And I was putting this in part of my calculus, which is the combined bet, which is
Yeah,
available at
I like this.
DraftKings, Jokic and Ant to go over 58.5 points.
Yeah, I like that.
And I mean, if you need a different bet because you can't necessarily get there without a DK account, like I'd say like both guys 25, Jokic 8 assists is a good parlay there for plus 120 is what I found. But I mean, these guys, we talked about Jokic plenty, but let's keep focusing on Ant. Is that in this backs to the wall spot? I mean, the elimination game against Denver, 29 points, 62% on twos last year. He went 0 for 6 from deep, and he's shooting much better from three recently. He shot 14 for 33, so that's 43%. The previous three in that series, as you know, that's how you counter these doubles. Is just like rise up and fire. In the elimination game against Memphis the year prior, 30 points on 4 for 10 from three. And then he closed out Phoenix with 40 points. But I mean, this is a bit more of a backs against the wall situation where you expect him to just kind of like go down swinging. If they do go down, I'm not saying the Wolves have no chance here, but they are trying to deal with Joker, who's a supercomputer. 37.5 points per game on 64% on twos in his last two, 70% on drives, 66% on elbow touches, 0.85 points per paint touch, which is very, very good. And then, yeah, the 13 assists, 0 turnover game last time out. I would also consider going under 3.5 turnovers for Jokic, who started the series messing up, 7 turnovers, I think, in both the first 2 games. Clearly, he's figured out the Wolves defense. And as much as they'll change things up, like he will figure it out on the fly. I don't expect him to have 4 turnovers in this game. And I mean, they still combined got to 59 in this last game, which is what I realized, like, why it's a better look than just saying necessarily like Ant 35 plus, which I tried last game. Is like, look, one of these guys is probably going to be going 30 plus. I think maybe both of them in this situation. If Jamal's not healthy and Joker has to continue scoring, he does average more points, more higher usage, more assists as well without Jamal this season, and would take on a bigger load there. So I think one way or another, they're going to combine for about 60. I think it's a nice, safe bet, and there's different ways you can same game parlay it to get the juice there.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great look. I fully agree. If you want to sprinkle on the 30 plus each, that's the like the lotto play a little bit more than just a conservative play, obviously. But yeah, 25 plus. I don't even know if you'll get that good a juice anymore. Probably still at like minus 130, something like that. It would be the best I could see them giving you for that, depending on the site. So you can look at that. I think it's still a safe play for them both to get 25. I just think we know Jamal's health is not where it needs to be to be full Jamal. And for Jamal to score more than anything, he needs to be full Jamal. So they'll be looking, and I think the assist is a good play too, because he will have some shooters open. He had some really, Michael Porter Jr. was awful shooting last game. Still took the 7, but was terrible. KCP made up for it by going 4 for 5. I think a couple guys will still be hitting off of Jokic passes. But let me go to it's a low plus money. It's a low minus money bet here. It's Christian Brown, but I'm taking him for over 2.5 rebounds. If you want to add the points and get to 9.5 points in rebounds, I'm okay with that, but he's needed to be pretty efficient to get over in the last 2 games. He's gotten at least 10 in these last 2 games, but I don't think that we go back to Christian Brown playing less than 28 minutes, right? Like, I think that's become his floor. One, he's been the primary defender on Ant for the most amount of time in both of the last games, whereas he was just sort of used as like another guy to come in and like help facilitate guarding Ant alongside KCP. Now he's come in and is like, I'm the guy. He's not doing it one-on-one, by the way. He's a part of every double team. It's between he and KCP and then whoever else might be up top at the time. Those are the guys that are helping double, but his minutes should be safe is my main point here. Like Reggie Jackson's have gone straight down, 13 in the first game, 10 in the second, and then he hasn't played 10 in the last 3, whereas Christian Brown went 19 in the first, partly because they tried him out on Ant. Then in the second game, they did a little bit, but that game was over in the second quarter, so he played 10 minutes in that game. Then in game 3 is where I think it was clear, like, okay, got it. These 17 minutes that we got from Christian Brown on Ant, we need to continue that. So he stayed in the game then he went up to 25 and 28 minutes in these last 2. And that's where I now have, like, let me say, his floor is like 25 minutes for sure. So on the 2.5 rebounds in these last 2 games, when he finally got at least 25 minutes, he was looking at 8 and 9 rebound chances respectively, right, in those 2 games. So I like those a little bit better because of when he does get switched, when he's doubling down on Ant with somebody else. It was something that I also noticed in watching some of that the game back from game 5 was now he's also, as soon as Ant's shot goes up, he's going right to the rim. Like maybe 2 guys are getting a hand up if Ant does pull it, but as soon as Ant makes that pass as well and somebody else shoots, he's diving to the rim for the rebound. Is Christian Braun, because he knows there's 2 dudes guarding Ant. He can just go get that board and work, because there's 4 monsters down low between Kat, AG, Rudy, Jokic. They're just hammering each other, right? And that has led to some easy Christian Braun rebounds, and that's why he has a pretty good rebound chance percentage as well, is because he's getting pretty easy boards, but he's also got 2 contested rebounds per game in these playoffs. So it's not like he needs to just be by himself with the ball rolling on the floor to get a rebound, right? Like maybe you see from other guys at times, like, I don't know, say TJ McConnell. But when it comes to Christian Braun, first of all, he's a leaper. That would be a big difference between he and someone like TJ McConnell. He can get up there and get those, but that's why I think his contested rebound chance percentage has been so good. And I think he's good to go over with it. Like if he gets 5 rebound chances in this game, I love him to get 3, honestly. Like that's been something that he's done very consistently in these playoffs. In this series now, he's at 7 rebound chances per game. To get 3 on a, what's that, like a 40 something, like base 40% 3-point chance, rebound chance percentage success rate. Like if he gets 7, 3 is something he's done very easily. And so it's minus money, but the edge is still there for me when I run it through the math and go, yeah, even at minus like 160, if that's the best number you can get, which I think you can still get a minus 150. But even though it's just a little bankroll builder, because I do expect the minutes to be there for him and for him to walk into 3 rebounds.
Certainly, there'll be even more minutes if Jamal is in a full go, like we talked about. Like maybe Jamal's 32 minutes tonight if they hedge and save him for Game 7. But either way, yeah, I mean, he's been the best player off the bench for a team that we disrespected this bench. Like they've been very, very good since the Game 2 embarrassment, and Braun leading the way. Like I don't have a problem adding the points, I guess. I mean, just like he's just so efficient this series. He's exactly the type of athleticism and burst they need in the open court, and then he can still hit open threes. This guy's been nails in the playoffs for 2 years now, coming right off a title at Kansas, right? And he's not afraid to take big shots. So, but yeah, the rebounds is exploitable. I mean, I guess you could go plus money for 4 rebounds, or you can combine it with the points and maybe get a little bit better odds.
Yeah, either way. But yeah, the transition stuff would be what you hope he is how he gets his points. That would be the way he's scoring for the most part. So I agree with that. I like just the rebounds. I think it's fine for a bankroll builder. We got plenty of plus money bets out there between our player props episode here, as well as the best bets that we have. So subscribe to that page and continue to follow along. Get both episodes from us each and every day now moving forward throughout this postseason. And until we see you next, happy betting.